Welcome to Top Producer Tuesday, where committed and dedicated Florida realtors go for real-time and practical coaching skills. Be prepared to get motivated, make something positive happen for you today, and get inspired to push through to higher levels of success. As challenging as it is to be a top-producing Florida realtor, it is equally rewarding and satisfying. Only you hold the key to personal victory in this modern real estate age. So buckle up and be prepared to engage and accelerate your success.
Good morning, Larry.
Hey, Reggie. Good morning. How are you?
Very good. We missed you, man. Last couple of shows, we had a number of guests and top speakers, and I know you were out traveling around. How you been?
I'm a top producer. So you got to go where the opportunity is. So a big couple weeks for me. Not an accident, not luck. Set out 3 months ago with a plan to partner with a couple big organizations, and knew before I went there 3 months ago, because the seller owns the shot clock, right? We start it and we guide it and we run the offense, and it worked out. It wasn't luck. It was a lot of hard work, but I also knew going in when I started the process 3 months ago that if I do the right things, good results should come from it. It wasn't hope. Hope is not a strategy, right? So that's my lesson maybe at the beginning of the call today, which is know going in that you can win. What are the steps to winning? And then follow that process, but also understand that as strategy shifts, right? The definition of strategy is wherever you are, be there, right? And it's from this point forward. So things shifted a little bit, got some other opportunities. I saw some scope creep. I got it back down to the core opportunity, and we're going to move forward. So it's the same way with a buyer-seller relationship or a listing, whatever it might be, even picking the right agency, the right broker to work with. If I go there, can I be successful, or am I just following the herd mentality, right? Go where you're going for the right reason with the right plan.
Really good point. No. It's great. This is Top Producer Tuesday, and you genuinely are a mega top producer. It's motivating and inspiring to see you in action, and I know you must have had a really successful couple of weeks. There's a couple of there's some interesting things going on right now in Florida. Just want to remind everybody, for our viewers, that there's a couple of announcements that Wallet Hub on a study did. And we won't go into the details on it. We kind of talked about it a little bit on last week's show, but for our new viewers today, I want to remind them that, Florida's Orlando, St. Lucie, Cape Coral, Tampa, St. Pete, Tallahassee, Pembroke Pines, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, and Hialeah were all in the United States top 100 cities in America to be a realtor, to be a real estate agent. That's pretty motivating in and of itself. And I just wanted to remind everybody that the time is now. And as far as timing, Larry, this isn't a politics show, certainly not advocating any kind of party or candidate. It's funny, though, Florida is on our map this week. March 13th is the deadline to vote in the Florida caucus. And just this morning, on my way in at 8 o'clock, the Rubio is literally 10 miles away for 2 hours at a local event. Not that that has anything to do with real estate, but what does have to do with real estate and politics is and I'd like your thoughts on this, Larry. It's pretty interesting. I was reading an article that in the history of presidents, there's only been 2 presidents that have genuinely been interested, involved, engaged in real estate, in the real estate business. And that was Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, our founding fathers, where they were both landholders. They were both, wealth acquirers in real estate. They believed in growth. They believed in home ownership or property ownership back in the day. Yet, Larry, we have what is claimed to be the biggest deal maker in real estate with Donald Trump, who's arguably not as for real estate agents and realtors as some people may think. And then on the other side, we've got a couple of parties, a couple of candidates haven't even brought real estate up, or except for the negativity and the boom and addressing the problems that occurred back then. I'm just curious, like Larry, how do you think this election is going to affect the real estate market in the United States and in Florida specifically?
You know, Reg, I'm not smart enough to know how it will directly impact, but I do know that wealth management tied to wealth gathering and wealth management is directly tied to the health and well-being of the real estate market. There's no question. Home ownership, land use, commercial real estate is deeply entrenched in the health of the U.S. economy, right? That's number one. Number two is to the report that you mentioned earlier, that those number of cities in the top 100, it's not a surprise. I see behind you a beautiful sunny day today, right?
Beautiful day.
Right. People want to be in Florida. To be in Florida, the best way to be in Florida is to own and rent, invest in Florida real estate. There's no question.
No question.
To my point earlier of have a strategy in advance, have a goal in mind, is maybe how do you capture as a thread of one of the real estate opportunities? How do you find people before they move here?
Yep.
Because when they move here, I mentioned to you 2 weeks ago, I was in the Villages, right? 100,000 residents now. They're still buying and building and releasing property. And now you've got still new homes coming on the market. You've got resales on the market. It's going to go to 250,000 people. Well, I asked friends of my friend, you know, they're from Ohio and they now know 10 or 12 people. Interesting question here. They know 10 or 12 people. They're the only ones not here full time. They're only here for about 3 months out of the year. The rest stay down here. I said, so in your group, are there more people that are getting ready to retire heading this way? Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm bringing my brother down to move him. I'm trying to get my dad down here. How simple is that question, right?
Yeah.
How simple is that?
And Larry,
wasn't embarrassed to ask the question of a friend of a friend.
And I think when we had talked about that, you know, that's one of those niche markets, you know, the Villages being one of Florida's biggest senior communities in northern central Florida. And you having been there and seen that energy and that development. And, you know, I think the real estate market in all areas is alive. And, you know, that kind of brings me to another point of, you know, we want the show to be a gathering point in even better, an opportunity to share, you know, unique insight into developments and investment grade properties and single family homes that are uniquely valued and positioned in the local marketplaces in all the major Florida cities. You know, it's funny. Yesterday, I was meeting with a number of investors, Larry, and you know, like I got some samples where, you know, we have properties that sit on the ocean with marinas and restaurants and boating services, you know, 7-figure properties that are not on the market. And it was in my sphere of influence and our spheres of influence that, you know, we have opportunities to share with other brokerages, other realtors, each other.
Reggie, I just got a text question to what we were talking about with the Villages and to that. So the question was, if you're not from there, but you want to do business there, what are the tools and tricks to becoming significant in a market that you're not really from? And I think that question is both about demographically. So let's say I'm 54 years old. Time goes fast. I'm 54 years old, but I want to get into the wave of the early millennials buying their first homes, but it's also about location, right? So if someone wanted to tap into the Villages opportunity because they realize people are going to be moving there, or like the documents you just held up, friend of ours going over to Brazil for a real estate trade show, right?
Yeah, well, Investor Summit.
The way to break into a market is to either get local or be local. Get local or be local. And I don't just mean in physical proximity, right? It's about relevance. You've got to immerse yourself in your very small vertical market, whether it be a geography like the Villages or Pembroke Pines or Tarpon Springs, or into the demographic vertical that you place yourself in. And it's easier and closer than what people think. It's just being authentic. It is, if I am going to be relevant, I have to be there fully, right? Where I am is where I can become what I need to be. If I want to be successful in the villages, I'm going to go there. I'm going to become part of the community. I'm going to tap into the social environment that occurs there. I'm going to get to know the business owners. I'm going to play golf with people that live there, that are of the age that maybe not everyone in their class has already moved there. So the question was, if I wanted to go somewhere and become an expert in that area, how do I get there? Well, you just got to be there. You've just got to go there, right? If I'm going to own my backyard, right, my 5 miles around my house, it's not that hard. Knock on every door, be at every soccer tournament in the area, be at every open house, be at every new business launch, and talk to people like I did on the golf course with the guy that I realized he's not the oldest one to retire. He's not the youngest one to retire. They're from the Cleveland area. They already know 10 people within 10 miles that live close to them in Cleveland.
Right.
What can't just be 10? It might be 110. He doesn't have a real estate license. He wants his people well taken care of. If not me, it'll just be someone who's hanging out a sign.
Right. Well, that's a really good point. And, maybe as the show evolves, Larry, we could have a destination spot somewhere out there online where our viewers can share unique opportunities and spread the word for, things like they might live in the villages and they can partner from Miami, or they could partner from, Jacksonville, just an interesting point. I want to talk about something, Larry, that I noticed in the local Florida news about, and this speaks to, for those folks out there about their competition. I've been helping real estate agents now since 1998, and directly nationally involved in leadership since 2005, and with thousands of agents in many markets around the country. And one of the things that, Larry, I've seen agents not get to their full potential, the barrier that prevents them from getting to their full potential is a lack of confidence. And even further, and specifically, more of a fear of there's other agents out there that are going to get local, like you were saying, or there's other realtors that are doing farming for listings in their 5 mile farming area. So they don't apply themselves to get out there and meet people and go to those open houses and go to those new business launches. Although we know, and we're trying to communicate to our viewers that, that really is the key to success. And there's a couple of other things I'll share later that even further solidify that is the core strategy for any business development minded professional in real estate. But at the same time, as an agent needs to grow their confidence, even in the midst of competitive nature of the marketplace of more agents out there. Larry, what's your thoughts on this? So there's an article. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's a little bit higher than I thought. In fact, the Miami Association of Realtors. So this is Florida's biggest market. These numbers aren't going to be exactly the same, Jacksonville, Orlando, or Tampa, but I think in relatively speaking, they're in alignment. The Miami Association of Realtors in the last 6 months added 4,200 new realtors to the marketplace. They have cited that it is one of the fastest growing periods of time. It went from 37,000 to 41,500 agents in a 6-month period. Now, that might sound intimidating, Larry, and I know for you and I, this is actually an opportunity, not a challenge. But when a new realtor or a real estate agent that's really trying to break in and take their deal level, from 1 deal a month to 10 deals a month or somewhere in between, and they see a daunting number like Miami Association of Realtors added 4,200 additional competitors to your marketplace, what would your message be to them?
I've got a number of thoughts about a report like that. With 4,200 plus coming in, 4,200 retired. They just didn't share it with their broker yet. They just stopped working. I'm not worried about that number. I'm worried about the number one. I'm worried about the one person out of those 4,200 that either chose the real estate industry either as a landing strip or a takeoff as a shuttle, a launching pad, one or the other. It's the only reason you enter real estate. It's either the lowest common denominator of I think I can make money here, but I'm not going to really work any harder than I did at my last 5 careers. Okay. Or I'm going to really make this a takeoff point. It's like an airport concourse. You have people landing and you have people taking off, right? All day, every day in every business, but especially in real estate. My concern for those 4,200 are those first few days, those first few weeks, those first few months. You'll know right away, because either you're going to tap in to why you got involved. It's your social circle. It's your social media group. It is people that are of your same age that don't have a representative, and you felt it was a good opportunity to tap in. You're very well connected socioeconomically in the marketplace, and there's a lot of transactions going on around you, and you want to be the person to facilitate that. These first few steps are very, very, very important. And I'm going to caution those 4,200 people to quickly determine, is it when they're going through that concourse of the real estate industry, are they taking off or are they landing? So if they're landing, get out of the airport, get in a cab, and go find another industry, right? Because it's not easy. It is simple, but it is not easy, right? Yep. It is the same things that haunted them in the last journey they took, which is, I'm busy, I want good things to happen, I don't want to do the uncomfortable things. So real estate looks easy. I disagree. Nothing's easy, but it is very simple, very straightforward. So yep. I don't worry about the 4,200 coming or going, because 40,000 didn't sell a deal last month anyway.
That's right.
They're not taking away any business from me. I won't make a political comment on immigration taking away jobs that Americans want.
Yep.
Right, because there's still jobs out there and Americans not working.
And I want to remind everybody out there too that studies have shown, and we've actually tested this in our company at Advanta and all the major cities in Florida and across the country with former companies, that when you actually look at the details of the number of deals that close on a percentage basis of the total number of realtors that are actually paying their board dues, they're licensed, they're technically under a brokerage, it's a very small percentage. That's number one. That should make you feel better. That should keep your confidence high. The second thing is that when you then, with those who are doing the deals, look at their specific activities, such as who's really farming for listings in your specific sphere of influence and your neighborhood, your friends and family and social and in your local backyard, who's marketing, who's using social media effectively, who's communicating on a regular automated basis with your friends and family and circle of influence, who's out there that are actually mastering lead capture and conversion and cultivation. What you'll find is, even though the deal number of total number of agents is a small percentage, it's even a much smaller percentage of those who are actually even doing the activities like farming an area for listings. So I think the message is that focus on your business, doing it right, and doing the daily disciplines that make sense, that you've been taught, that we talk about, that you've read about, that you've learned from mentors and coaches and friends that are successful in the business. And it will work, because it's a far less number than you think that are actually doing that out, which gives every one of these 4,200 agents a shot. Unfortunately, we know the real numbers, though. It's only going to be a small percentage of them that actually do it. So any other comments on that?
Yeah, I want to take a quick global timeout, right? Because in the end, if it sounds so easy and it sounds so straightforward, then why isn't it working for everyone? I want to encourage everyone to do two things today that you got to do on every interaction that you have with someone, which is, the first one is the uncomfortable truth, either about them or about yourself. And that's not an ethereal statement. It is, in the end, everyone has an underlying message or need or desire. They admit that by clicking a website. They admit that by raising their hand, that initial interest. But somewhere a little bit deep down, just below this, wanting to come out, afraid to go there. Don't be afraid to guide someone down a better path. If they're renting and you know them and they're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, right? Just middle income, talking to them about owning a home. Why don't they? How can I help you own a home? Everyone knows someone making 40 or 50 or 30 or $40,000 that is qualifiable for a home today. Try one thing. Call one person today. Try to help them today. It can be someone that a month or two ago you had a lot of back and forth, you had interaction with, and they dropped off and you dropped off. Go back and apologize. You probably didn't understand their needs well enough. Tell them that.
Yeah, re-engage.
I wasn't able to help you yet, but I want to be able to help you, right? The uncomfortable truth in someone. Typically, there's something stopping them from moving forward. It could be a credit issue that they don't want to disclose, but eventually they're going to disclose it to somebody. Let that be you, right? It happens in the automotive industry all the time. They go the first place. The first salesperson doesn't ever break through the veneer of the relationship, and they go and admit it to the second or third dealership. I could give you stats on that a million times. They go the first one to break the egg because they don't believe they have to create a relationship. So the first one can do one of two things. They can fall right into line with what they thought the experience would be, and then the buyer can exhibit the behavior they always anticipate, which, great, I'll be back. And then they go the second one. They got information from the first one. Sounds like real estate. Got information from the first one, and they shared a shred of their truth with the second person because they were uncomfortable. Be the first one, no matter who it is. Okay? Yep. It is experience drives buyer behavior. All you have to do to change their behavior towards you is change the experience a little bit.
Yep.
So that's a tip.
No, it's a great tip. And last week on the show, we actually had a guest from Selectrified, Samantha Casco, who talked about how you can actually achieve what you're saying there, Larry, when and most every successful, consistently producing realtor is a CRM, a contact relationship management system that, helps them automate this because, Larry, it doesn't take very long. In fact, I'll share with you in this next top producer story here that slayed $5.6 million in 2015 right here in our own backyard. What his tips for success were, which was, it doesn't take very long to get, 100 of your friends and family and contacts. Might sound like a lot, and it may be, but it really isn't. After a matter of a 90-day, 6-month, 12-month period of time of actively doing the strategies and techniques and the handshakes and the eyeball meetings and the emails and the phone calls, your database could be in the hundreds, if not even in the thousands. We have agents on board our company that have over 5,000 existing registered recipients of some kind of information, a monthly newsletter or a market update just to keep friends and family updated and reminding them of who they are in the real estate business so they're always top of mind. But then you have the folks like you're talking about, Larry, your past clients and prospects that may not have followed through. There's an interesting statistic that out of 10 people that an average realtor engages in, 3 in the 12-month period will end up not buying anything in 12 months, but 7 will. Out of those 7, the average realtor only gets to close 1 of those 10 in a 12-month period of time. However, top producers are closing between 3 and 5 of those 7. The other remaining 2 of the 7 that they don't get, even top producers, Larry, we could probably talk all day about, there could be.
So Reggie, I'm gonna share something that's a physical anchor, and we'll close or wrap on this fairly quickly. If you think about high school quarterbacks, high school football. I don't know the number. It's probably somewhere in the range of 50,000, 75,000, 2-3 quarterbacks per team, a couple hundred. In their world, they are Peyton Manning, right? At the high school level, they're all Peyton Manning. And then you've got 200 plus Division I schools, 200 plus Division II schools. So now you're getting down from a couple 100,000 down to maybe 2,000. We're going to talk about what makes the difference, right? In that transformation, that transition from high school to college. And then you've got 32 NFL teams, right? You've got 32 starting positions total. Those are your top performers, right? But you may have 100 quarterbacks in the NFL at any given time, right? Well, what makes the difference between those 100,000 high school quarterbacks? We'll call them Florida Realtors, right? That then get pulled up and get a D1 scholarship. We'll call them mid-performers, right? 6, 10, 12 deals a year, 15 deals, making a living, but they will work the rest of their life. There's no question. They'll work the rest of their life. Or they have other income, and it's just what they do. They like the social aspect of selling homes, right? And then you've got the top performers. I will tell you, it's very simple. It is how hard you work. It is the amount of practice that you do. Peyton Manning threw more footballs than anybody else. He studies more game film than anybody else. He takes more time. There was a report that there was a receiver while he was recuperating from his neck. He was out. If everyone doesn't remember, he was out for a year in 2014. He practiced with a guy, a receiver that was on the practice squad, not on the travel team. He went out there every day. Not only did it make Peyton better, this practice squad guy will now get on to the Broncos because he took thousands of reps that no one else would be willing to take because he's just a practice squad player. He went out there first thing in the mornings at 5:30 a.m. He took more reps than anybody else. More reps than anybody else. Tiger Woods hit more golf balls than anybody else. Adam Scott is hitting more golf balls than anybody else. Michael Jordan took more free throws than anybody else. They were all average people. They were all average. None of them had beyond amazing physical skills until they did more reps than anybody else.
Yeah, and they were fully committed, fully dedicated to achieving high skill levels by doing that. Larry, I want to share with you a document here. I'm sorry.
I need to make more calls. Now I'm pumped up.
Yeah. Well, let me share something with you here real quick. Tell me what you think about this. It's just a little bit of real estate humor. Let's see if I have. Yeah, this is it. So take a look at that document, Larry. It's real estate agents. This is like the world of a real estate agent. What my friends think I should do, social media, hang out, socially at Starbucks. Mom thinks I should be, Donald Trump. Truly and Zillow, I mean, look at the, they just think you should be buying leads. What HG Home and Garden TV think I should do, and that's flip houses. What I think I should do, just focus in my backyard, and then what I really do. Does that bring any thoughts to mind or no?
Of course it does. It doesn't, candidly, I look at that and it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is what I'm going to do today. As you know, when I drive to the office, I've got about an hour and 20-minute drive. We had 3 minutes on the phone today. And the reason we had 3 minutes on the phone, because I scheduled calls for the entire drive. So we had 2 minutes. You said, can we spend a few more minutes? I said, no, I've got a call coming up. I spoke with Michael Lockyer from Gannett and USA Today. I spoke with Carl Cost from Coca-Cola and now Truco. I've got things I've got to get done. I am going to get a faster start, get in more reps. So by the time I hit the radio, I'm warmed up.
Yep. No,
so the humor is humorous if you allow it to be humorous, or it's sad if you allow it to be sad.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Being busy doesn't necessarily mean being productive, and there's so many distractions out there, and we are pulled in our industry so many directions. I mean, just in today's show alone, we talked about, the commercial element, the retirement in the villages, all the opportunities to meet people in the local backyard. They take time, they take energy, but, focusing on what really matters is kind of goes to the formula, a success formula in real estate that does work. And you said it in a few different ways already today, Larry, but it's about how many hands have you shaken today of people you've never met before?
Well,
how many conversations new that you've never had with a buyer, seller, investor did you do by the end of the day? How many past clients or people that you've lost did you reconnect with, to your earlier point? That's what matters. And that will always lead to what needs to be done next. Just, my opinion. So you might feel busy, you might be active, but are you doing the right thing? And that's something that is super, super important to take away.
Let me end this for me from a positive standpoint, right? I'm 54 years old. I have no time to waste. I have a great life. I want to have more time in that great life. So I take every opportunity to trial close. I want to know what it is that I need to do with that other human being. We're in a relationship now. I own 50% of that relationship, but I own 100% of my response to that other party, right? The one thing I'm going to do all day, every day, on every call is trial close, whether it be for a meeting in person, whether it be for a condition that we need to overcome collectively to get a deal done. It is, yes, it's how many people you talk to, but it's at the end of every call, every interaction with someone else. Is there clarity? People leave a conversation, a transaction, an exchange without clarity. They do it all the time. Reggie, you and I talked about, we're going to get together tomorrow at 3 o'clock to discuss 2 topics, correct? Regardless of what they are. But we ended that phone call with when we're going to do it, what we're going to discuss, why, and why does it matter? And then we're going to finish that because we're going to walk into something else at 5. Correct? Right. We don't have time to waste. I think people leave too many meetings, too many phone calls without clarity. So I'm going to kind of end it there. I will tell you that Peyton Manning ended his career with clarity. Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 50. Am I a big Peyton Manning fan? Yes, no, it doesn't really matter. What I'm a fan of is his work ethic, his preparedness, and his determination to a result at the end of the day, at the end of the play, at the end of the series, at the end of the half, at the end of the quarter. So that's what I'm going to leave everyone with today, which is find clarity. I called it earlier, the uncomfortable truth. You leave a meeting, what's next? Even if it's another meeting, what's going to be done in that meeting that wasn't done now so we can move it down the line? If solution selling doesn't do anything well, it defines the upfront oral commitments at the end of a step. It doesn't help you in between, but end every call, every meeting with clarity. You knew more when you left that call than you knew getting onto that call, and you know what's going to happen on the next one, period. And then you follow up to make sure it occurs. So that's me today.
Larry.
Yep.
Hey, sorry. One of us had an internet issue there. Sorry about that.
That was you.
Maybe. Hey, listen. What I was saying there before you got cut off was, on the topic of utilizing your time effectively. There's only so many hours in a day. What to prioritize and focus on is critical. And one of the topics next week is going to be, we're going to have a guest on the show to specifically talk about what top producers in this industry use for time management skills and time management tools, and how they allocate their time to achieve the levels of success and the amount of transactions they close every month, which I think it'll be an interesting thing. Sorry we got cut off there for just a minute on the internet issue, but Larry, I want to thank you for joining the show today too. And I think we caught your last message. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us. We hope today it was inspiring for you enough to get up, get out there, and make something happen. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Top Producer Tuesday. Bye now.